Hello YouTubers! What we are going to do today is we are going to set up a CB09 blade for the Cameo 4. I know this has been problematic for quite a number of people, so I want to do a video on it. This is the CB09 blade, and it's a holder, and then you have, these are all your different blades. So you always keep the holder and you just change out the blades as needed for when they get dull or anything like that. And they come in different angles, 30, 45, and 60. I have a longer, yappier video. I'll put the link up here explaining more about the CB09 blade. This video is going to be more about setting it up specifically for the Cameo 4. I also have a video setting it up for the older Cameos if you want to watch that. I'm a big believer in these blades. I use them almost exclusively in my little Cameo 2. I will not cut glitter vinyl without it. I will not cut glitter vinyl with a ratchet blade, especially if it's anything detailed or small. I will definitely use a CB09 blade. The other really nice thing about the CB09 blades is the glitter blade that I set up probably at least 3 years ago at this point still works. It's getting a little dull and I'm going to have to redo it. I'm going to have to replace the blade at some point in the near future. But that's 3 years of cutting vinyl or cutting glitter vinyl, which will dull your blade. So I'm a big believer in these things for anything that's hard to cut, difficult to cut, especially if small or detailed. Big believer in these guys. Now the big thing to know with these in the Cameo 4 is you have to use the adapter, and we're going to use a blue one. You have to make sure the one you have fits in this groove. Not all of them do. I don't know why. But see, that one fits in. Now this is one I set up for paper in my old machine. And it has a fatter little ring around it here. And it won't set up. It doesn't fit. So that's why some people are screaming and having trouble in the groups. Because see how it's fatter. So know that. And I'll put a link down below in the description of this specific blade that I bought. However, the listings on Amazon can totally change. So when you get this blade, the first thing is make sure that it fits in your groove in this adapter and that it will close. If it doesn't, I would return it right away. Don't wait. Don't wait and let it sit in a box and be stuck with something you can't really use. Now this will totally work in the old machines, but it cannot work in the Cameo 4. So that's the first thing to know. All right, so the CB09 blade comes with different blades, a 30, 45, and 60. I've only ever used the 45s for everything. I've never had a problem with them, and those are just the ones I've always ended up going with. And then you can see how many different blades you get for the kit. And you can reuse all of these. The housing you reuse, and then you just get rid of the little blades, which is another kind of thing that's nice about this. Instead of having to throw away a whole ratchet blade, you just have to throw away this the blade and technically the spring. So you unscrew and then you get your blade and you have a little bitty spring. Now, something else to know about these blades, they're an aftermarket part. Silhouette's not going to help you with this. This is entirely up to you to set up correctly and get to cut correctly in your machine. All right, so we're going to take off the little protector, very carefully put on our spring. We're going to put the fat end of the spring into the blade holder. Okay. And we'll put our cap back on. And screw it on. And then this is how you adjust the blade depth. Now something else to know about this is if you do that to your machine, you will break it. Okay, that's the other kind of thing you need to understand. Silhouette's not going to help you with this, and you absolutely can tear up your machine if you do that. So you have to be very careful when you're setting it up, but turning it is how you do that. And what I like to do, we're going to end up having to go test cut. That's normally what I do, is we're going to set this up for glitter vinyl. And so this is my ratchet blade, and for glitter vinyl, I normally set it on a 5. And see how little bit my blade is out there? We're going to come over here and put my blade out be about the same thing. I don't know how well the camera's picking all that up, but so see, they're about the same now. So what I have chosen to do is set up 3 different CB09 blades for 3 different materials. So I have one set up for glitter, one set up for adhesive, and one set up for paper. These all are set up to work with my Cameo 2 specifically. And what I have done is I use the settings that are in the computer already, and I use these blades. I don't adjust them, I just use these blades. The reason why I have chosen this, and this is the #1 question I got on the last video, is because there's no real way to adjust these consistently. So see, there's no marks on this, there are no grooves on this, there's no number line, there's no little numbers or grooves or anything like that. So if I move this, I have no way of knowing how to get it back to where it is. Okay, now if you don't want to do that, you can try marking this with a marker. You can also Google, and there is a number line that you can tape on here and come up with various, I don't know, a groove up here. You do not have to do it my way. You can come up with some groove, number, lining up system if you want to. Or the other way you could do it is adjust your settings in the computer and have this set to 1 depth and then adjust your settings in the computer accordingly. I will highly suggest if you set up custom settings to write them down. If your software ever crashes, those custom settings will be erased. When you have to go through and erase that file, the custom settings will be erased and you'll be up a creek. So that's just what I've chosen to do because there's no way of marking this. You do not have to do it that way if you don't want to. It's just what I've chosen to do. And this one specifically, we will set up to cut glitter because it's the #1 reason I get out my Cameo 2 instead of my Cameo 4 is to cut glitter vinyl. So we're going to cut glitter vinyl today. And what we are going to do now is we are going to go to the computer and Cameo 4 and see if we can get a blade depth that works well for glitter every single time. And then I will label the plastic container that it comes in too. For whatever reason, this one's really bigger. It's a lot bigger, so I don't necessarily label it for the 4, but I will label it for glitter vinyl specifically for the Cameo 4. And we'll get a setting that's just right, or a blade depth that's just right, and we'll have this set up for the Cameo 4. All right, so we're in Silhouette software, and I made a little flowery thing. It's little, it's like 2.5 by 2.4. It's a flower made out of the Flexi shapes, and it should give us some thin things to kind of test this blade on. And then I'm gonna hit send, and there is our little thing. I'm gonna put glitter cardstock or glitter HTV. And then it's giving me all of this because my blade isn't in there. So we're going to put the blade in there and see it'll pop up on the screen. So we're going to go cut, and we're going to go ratchet blade, and then it's got cut. And then I just use the settings that are in here. So a force of 33 and a speed of 5. I'm also a big fan. This is the overcut feature. So what it means is it's just going to cut a little bit past it, so that it helps kind of provide a clean cut. We're cutting. We're gonna hit send and see what happens. All right, so we got our test cut. Looks pretty good actually. So we'll untape it real quick. All right, so what I'm looking for is a clean cut. I'm also wanting to make sure that it hasn't cut through too much on this side, and you can really feel the indentations. So our blade might be a little too deep, but I think from my test pulling, and seeing I've got this little bitty ring in here. That would not be fun with a ratchet blade. Alright, so I'm going to call this one good. It is a little deep, but I think it's going to be okay. Now, you don't want like big grooves on your carrier sheet side because it'll eventually cut through a carrier, which is not good. But a little imprint is okay. And it did give me a clean cut. Now, if yours did not, take it out of the adapter and then you can adjust this and try again. And that's kind of the annoying thing about the CB09 blades, and the one big real downfall of them is you do have to test them and set them up. There's not a quick and easy, like, turn to 5 and it'll work. You have to set them up, and that's kind of the annoying part of them. I'm a big fan of them. Like I said, I've had the same blade in my glitter one for years and it still works. I've had the same blade in all my other ones for a long time. Whereas I would go through ratchet blades like it was going out of style. Especially if you have anything difficult to cut, the faux leather, glitter paper. You probably still will go through the blades in glitter paper because it's so notoriously hard to cut. But it'd be much cheaper to do it with these guys than it would be the ratchet blades. Also, it's a good in-stock alternative to Silhouette's blades since they've been so hard to find of recent. You just do need to be careful with them. If you turn them all the way and have the big huge blades sticking out, you absolutely can damage your machine. So be careful with them. Also, Silhouette's not going to help you, so you do have to kind of be proactive in setting this up and kind of going through the steps. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. And I hope you appreciated our little video. If you do, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much.